It's not about the size of the population. It's about how productive the economy can be, how accessible the economy can be, how conducive the ecosystem of the economy. So why Malaysia, right? So the second question, why Malaysia? It's not about the size of the population, because you don't come to Malaysia for Malaysian market. You come to Malaysia to build a hub for Asia, to be the hub even for global. And that's where our incentives, Malaysian incentive, you look at what we have offered today.
Assalamualaikum, Elsa di sini. Hai guys, hai semua, halo tetangga. Gimana kabar teman-teman semua? Semoga sehat selalu, semoga bahagia selalu, dan semoga hari teman-teman semua selalu good day. Selamat datang di channel YouTube Elsa Widianti Putri. Jadi Pak Menteri Tengku Zafrul Aziz bilang kalau nak tahu pasar Malaysia pergi ke Osaka. Oke, aku sempat mikir dari judulnya, apa hubungannya Osaka dengan Malaysia gitu kan? Nah, untuk itu marilah kita sama-sama, apa sih kaitannya pergi ke Osaka terus nak tahu pasal Malaysia. Nanti kita lihat penjelasan dari Bapak Menteri Tengku Zafrul Aziz ini guys. Tapi sebelum dimulai video reaksinya, seperti biasa aku mau ajakin teman-teman semua dulu untuk subscribe channel ini dan aktifkan lonceng notifikasinya supaya tidak ketinggalan update terbaru dari channel ini. Dan bagi teman-teman yang mau request bisa banget DM di Instagram aku di @Widianti_Putri. Udah teman berlama-lama tanpa membuang masa, jumlah kita mulai video reaksinya. Are you ready? Let's go.
Has 680 million population, but Malaysia is only 5% of the population of ASEAN, which is 34 million. So I would like to ask YB Minister, what are the competitive advantages coming to Malaysia or invest in Malaysia?
Thank you. Thank you very much. I think part of the answer is actually the title of the keynote address. You invest in Malaysia, but you expand beyond. So if you look at ASEAN, is a block of 10 member economies. Yes, you're right, 680 million. But if you break it down, one big country is of course Indonesia, 280 million, right? But you want to use Malaysia as a home base for you to expand beyond Malaysia, to not just exports into ASEAN, but also exports to all over the world. And as I said, we are very much an open economy. We trade 1.3 times bigger than the size of our GDP. And we have various reasons which I will explain later. But first, I need to explain that a competitive economy is not based on the size of the population. Who is the most competitive economy in Southeast Asia? It's Singapore. Yeah. If you want to say Malaysia is only 5%, you know how big is Singapore relative. So it's not about the size of the population. It's about how productive the economy can be, how accessible the economy can be, how conducive the ecosystem of the economy.
Betul
so
banget.
Why Malaysia, right?
Yeah, why Malaysia?
The second question, why Malaysia? It's not about the size of the population, because you don't come to Malaysia for Malaysian market. You come to Malaysia to build a hub for Asia, to be the hub even for global. And that's where our incentives, Malaysian incentive, you look at what we have offered today, is for companies to come in to make it a hub. You get incentive. You want to come here just to do business in Malaysia, you're competing with our local players, you won't make the margin, right? So back to why. Why Malaysia? I think there are three reasons why Malaysia. There are many, but three main top reasons. Yeah. Number one is infrastructure, right? If we look at our energy capacity, power, for example, is very important for many industries. You need a lot of electricity. You need also water. And Malaysia has that. Our reserve margin is 20+%. And that's why a lot of data centers, for example, come to Malaysia from China, from US, from Europe, and more recently even from Middle East, where you can have access to stable electricity. And not only that, for Malaysia, we have a net zero target by 2050. So we have a very comprehensive energy transition roadmap where we can also supply green energy to companies who want to invest in Malaysia. And you know, many countries now want exporters to at least meet the sustainability standards by 2030 or even 2050. So that's number one, basically infrastructure, the ports, the roads, the water, the electricity and all that is there, right? Is strong, because we are an export country. For Malaysia, for example, what do we export the most? 80% is manufacturing, only 20% agriculture. Out of that 80% manufacturing, 40% of 80% is E&E product, mainly semiconductor. So we export to all over the world using the infrastructure that we have and leveraging on the various free trade agreements that we sign. So you can also benefit from leveraging on that. So number one is infrastructure. Number two is consistency in policies, right? We have changed in governments, many times. But what's important is that despite the changes in government or administration, the policies have been consistent when it comes to investments, when it comes to trade. Ever since independence until today, we have companies who have been in Malaysia for 40, 50, 60 years. Wow. For example, semiconductor. Why are we so strong in semiconductor? Semiconductor has been a sector, an industry in Malaysia since the 1970s. It's already 50 years. That's why we are the 6th largest exporter of semiconductor in the world. These companies didn't just start. And now we have Malaysian companies who are also global champions because of the spillover that was brought in by these multinational companies, including companies from China, Korea, Japan, and from the Asian part of the world. So consistent policies, rule of law, etc. is important. And third, I think where we also have an advantage when I speak to companies why they come here, right, is also about talent. We do have a strong talent pool. I mean, all of you know Malaysians, many can speak English and many can speak Mandarin as well. But what's important is that the talent pool are there, skilled talent as well for various industries. So these, I think, are the three key reasons. But you mentioned the word competitive advantage. We are not competitive in all sectors, for sure, right? Agriculture is not something we are looking at, food security, etc. We're not really exporting, right? We are importing more than we are exporting for food, for crops. But for other sectors where we are strong in, we would like to see companies from China or from any other parts of the world to take part in building up that ecosystem. So the 5 sectors that we are strong in and we have competitive advantage and we want to build on that. One is E&E sector. I mentioned a bit about the E&E sector, how important it is, especially semiconductor. Number 2 is chemical, petrochemical. We are strong in oil and gas sectors, but we are also moving downstream to chemical and petrochemical. This is an area where many companies also from all over the world are coming in to co-invest with Malaysian companies. Thirdly, we talk about digital economy. I've mentioned data centers, the AI and the software application that's required behind that. There's many Chinese companies also in this field, especially in technology, both infra and application. So this is another space where Malaysia wants to play in. Number 4 is on pharmaceutical and medical devices. So on our healthcare side, there's a big manufacturing capacity to build on. The last 30, 40 years, we have built a lot on pharmaceutical and medical devices. And finally, is aerospace. This is another area where Malaysia has heavily invested in the aerospace industry. These are in the manufacturing side. Of course, the services side, there's tourism, there's other parts, logistics, financial services. So these are still important because our economy, 70% investment is still driven by the services sector. Manufacturing is more for exports in a way. So these are the reason why you should come to Malaysia. And for Malaysia, we work with everyone. We don't believe in a zero-sum game, right? If Vietnam becomes stronger, Thailand becomes stronger, Malaysia becomes stronger, good. You cannot one country become stronger and the rest don't, because then it creates instability, right? So that's why when we talk about ASEAN, we want to see ASEAN growing at 4 to 5%, but not one country growing at 10, the rest growing at 1. So we need to grow together so that become a very prosperous region. We want a growth in ASEAN, a growth that is sustainable, a growth that is inclusive, a growth that is equitable, and a growth that is resilient.
Gokil. Cerdas banget.
Tak pernah miss sejak 1970. Apa tu? Itulah penyertaan Malaysia dalam Expo Dunia. Expo Dunia tahun depan akan berlangsung di Osaka, Jepun, dan MITI adalah penyelaras penyertaan Malaysia. Jadi saya sekarang ada di Osaka untuk meninjau persiapan Pavilion Malaysia. Mengapa penting untuk kita sertai Expo Dunia ini? Hampir satu dunia join Expo ini dan ia dikunjungi bukan sahaja oleh warga tuan rumah tapi pelawat dari seluruh dunia. Expo Dunia terakhir di Dubai dikunjungi lebih 24 juta orang secara fizikal dan lebih 250 juta orang secara maya. Jadi ini adalah peluang terbaik untuk mempromosi negara kita bukan sahaja dari segi pelaburan dan perdagangan tetapi juga pelancongan seni dan budaya. Untuk memanfaatkan sepenuhnya peluang ini, MITI dengan kerjasama pelbagai kementerian, kerajaan negeri dan agensi telah mengatur 204 program perniagaan dan 97 program bukan perniagaan sepanjang tempoh Expo berlangsung. Tema Pavilion Malaysia ialah Weaving a Future in Harmony. Kalau kita tengok, konsep alunan ini sama macam tenunan songket tetapi kita gunakan susunan buluh untuk menunjukkan fokus kita kepada pembangunan mampan. Alhamdulillah, persediaan Pavilion Malaysia berjalan lancar mengikut perancangan. Setakat ini dah siap hampir 75% dan dijangka siap sepenuhnya awal tahun depan. InsyaAllah, kita akan bersedia untuk menyambut dunia ke Pavilion Malaysia semasa Expo Dunia April hingga Oktober tahun depan. Sasaran kita sekurang-kurangnya 1.5 juta pengunjung serta 13 bilion ringgit jumlah perdagangan dan pelaburan. Jadi siapa yang datang Jepun tahun depan, jom kita singgah Pavilion Malaysia di Osaka.
Ayo, gaskan kita ke Jepun, ke Osaka. Pencapaian Malaysia dari tahun ke tahunnya, dari segi semikonduktor, dari segi inovasi, dari segi perdagangan, ekonomi, dan lain sebagainya gitu. Kita bisa melihat tentang grow up-nya Malaysia ini seperti apa. Nah, ditambah lagi ini ada Osaka Expo yang dimana yang bertemakan Pavilion Malaysia. Kita akan bisa melihat berbagai macam perdagangan-perdagangan atau yang dijual made in Malaysia yang akan diperkenalkan di Osaka ini di Expo Dunia 2025. Peluang besar untuk meningkatkan serta menonjolkan keunikan negara Malaysia gitu. Nah, di samping itu juga meskipun negaranya kecil, kita bisa melihat negara kecil ini ternyata memiliki dampak yang besar juga untuk dunia. Negara yang kecil ini ternyata juga bisa memberikan power untuk dunia gitu guys. Dari segi AI, semikonduktor yang dimana banyak banget perusahaan-perusahaan yang udah berpuluh-puluh tahun bertahan di Malaysia karena benefit atau progres yang mereka dapatkan memang bagus ketika membangun atau meletakkan kilangnya itu di Malaysia gitu. Oke, untuk video kali ini cukup sekian. Bagi teman-teman yang suka sama video ini, jangan lupa untuk like, komen, dan subscribe. Dan kita ketemu di next video. Bye-bye. Assalamualaikum.